Hi guys, Martin here from betfairtradingcommunity.com again. Just want to go through to part 2 of this video on my stats testing and just showing you how the psychology of a trader works when looking at stats and trying to develop systems and theories. So as you can see, I've come to the Betfair Trading Community site, clicked on the stats software, and away we go. Now, I've actually gone to my qualifiers. I've gone down to my system, which is it's supposed to be 3 goals scored in a match, but I spelled it wrong. So it's 3 goalless scored in a match. And I left it like that because I kind of liked it and it kind of reminded me which system it was. So I don't forget the difference between the two because they're kind of similar. But basically, this system is simply I'm looking for teams that have scored, not scored and conceded, just scored an average of 3 goals a game combined. So average, the teams all need to have scored 1.5 goals each per game, although they don't have to have scored 1.5 goals each for this system. As long as if they've scored, so say one team scored 1, the other team would have to score 2, and then that's 3, that's fine. Anything above 3 in that way combined is fine. But yeah, so as you can see here, I've filtered it so that the filter actually says that both teams must have scored at least 1 goal average a game. And then I just look at which ones add up to 3, which is fairly simple to do, of course. So in this Pribam Pleasant example, it's only 2.6, so I'd leave that alone. However, this Austria, Lustenau and Kapfenberg game, they're both 2, so that's a combined total of 4. Which qualifies very well, and that's a strong pick, and that game's actually on now, and I think that's already gone over 2.5 goals despite being 0-0 at half-time, so that's always nice. The other criteria I've used and filtered in after some indifferent results at the start is that the teams must have had 60% of their games over 2.5 goals according to our stats in the last 10 games. So I want a rating of 60 plus. I think it's actually 55 plus. But what I was finding was that with 50, a lot of teams didn't even score 1.5 goals. So that was kind of an indicator for me. I'll show you the filter just to make it a little more easy to follow. So as you can see here, full time overall, I've gone full time over 2.5 goals, greater than or 50 or equal to 55, which is a percentage. So overall percentage, full time over 2.5, easy enough to follow. And I found that that's actually been a really good filter. Then on the other ones, I go in home, average, goals scored per match, and it has to be 1 or above. And done the exact same thing with the away team. So just leave that up for a few seconds just so you can, if you want to have a look at it, jot it down and copy it. Of course, you can pause the video anyway. I've also restricted leagues. I do this. I should have mentioned this in the last one. I only really go for leagues where there's going to be decent liquidity on Betfair. Admittedly, I'll use some other leagues like Singapore, Lithuania, where quite often I have to go to the bookies. But that's quite rare. The way to do that is to kind of find the top 2 divisions in the sort of more well-known leagues that you know of. So say in Europe, South America, obviously only South America, Brazil, Argentina would be the top 2 leagues. In the other countries, you'd probably only want the top league. And the same in Europe, the powerhouses. In fact, most leagues in Europe, it's fine to have the top 2. Once you start getting out to the Baltic states, you only really want the top league. And you'll find leagues that don't agree with your systems. So, although I haven't discounted many of the main countries, I'm very wary of countries like Argentina, France, Portugal, where they're known to be very low scoring. But the stats suggest there'll be goals. I'm not going to filter those leagues out until I'm sure they're not profitable. So at the moment, because I've only recently started doing these, they're still in. So yeah, very simple there. So scroll down, save that. then it comes up with my picks, which I had earlier, as you can see. So yeah, again, I'll go through this and I'll look for the games with over 3 rating. And I'll put it into my sheet so I can test it. So I'll just go to this this page. Now, as you can see, a ton of data here. I've got the rating A and B. I don't know why they're the wrong way around here, but it doesn't really matter. But basically, they say the rating of each team, what the average goals scored is, then the total, and of course we want the total to be over 3. So just in case I make an error and I write in the teams and then I realise, I shouldn't have included that game because it's only 2.8, I can get rid of it. So yeah, and I started using the overs filter after about 6 or 7 games. Let's just scroll down, and this one we've actually got a decent amount of data, so we've got close to 100 games here. And the 1.5 goals is currently £148.73 up, which is amazing, and would take a huge downswing to lose 14 points, nearly 15 points in the over 1.5 goals market, because 1.5 goals are so likely to happen, and that's why the odds are so short. But it's incredible. Again, with £10 stakes, we've been able to build that up so quickly. And I know some people don't like a lot of selections; they get scared by a lot of selections. But if the selections are based on a profitable system that is making money, then actually, mathematically, the more picks, the better, because you will make more money. Again, you've just got to make sure that it's profitable. And again, I've been testing this again 3 weeks at the moment, so still looking to test it a bit more. I was planning to do these videos later down the line, but I've had so many requests after the success I've had that I've actually just done them now. So to anyone who sort of thinks, oh well, why are you doing this after 3 weeks? It's irrelevant. Well, okay, but it's going to take a hell of a lot for that 148 to go down back to level. So I feel that will be profitable in the 3 months. So I'm just going to have a look. Now, the over 2.5 hasn't been that profitable, only 3.5 points up. And we know that can swing pretty quickly because, there's a lot less chance of over 2.5 goals than 1.5. So not hugely impressive stats. So I kind of thought, okay, the 1.5 is fine, right? I might look into filtering that a bit further, but I quite like where that's at. I think this works well for 1.5. Why isn't it working so well for 2.5? My other system, just the 3 goals scored, is working pretty well. Now, of course, obviously, it's still early days, so it could just be chance. So I'm still testing everything. I'm not going to take out of the testing, but I'm not actually betting that at the moment. What I have done instead is I've looked to see where I can filter it. And what I've done is on this hand side on the right hand side of this spreadsheet, I've actually added teams in. So from the left hand side, I've added the same teams in, except there's one more filter, which is that both teams must have at least 1.5 goals scored average. So as you can see on these columns, you will not see anything below 1.5, like 1.4, 1.3, 1.1. Now, as I just go to the left-hand side, I'll show you what I mean. So as you can see, second one down here, Recife, the Athletic, 1.1 is there, right? So that would not qualify for my over 2.5. However, it's fine for 1.5. And actually, I was quite confident that would make a difference, because if you've got both teams who are scoring goals, then surely there's more chance of over 2.5 goals happening. Because both teams are a legitimate goal threat, and that's important. So I'll show you the results of this. Now, that obviously there's less picks, so you're not going to get as much profit in the 1.5 market. Still a very, very strong 78.74. So again, this could be a market or an option you look at for saying, right, I want a few less picks. I'm not comfortable with all these picks. Although and on the weekend it'll still throw up quite a few. It's 3 weeks and it's had 40 50 picks. So not too dramatic. You're looking at just over 2 a day. Obviously, that'll increase on weekends. Now, the over 2.5 goals has made £86 profit. So quite similar to the first video and the first spreadsheet. Very pleased with that. So the theory does seem to hold up, that it's actually 5 points better off at this stage. Still early doors, but it makes sense to me. And that's the key with these theories, is that you think, right, okay, I've got a theory. I think this might happen. Does it? We'll test it. You know, our software isn't saying, you know, like with the percentages, we're not, when you see something that says 90% 2.5 goals, you know, we're not saying that there's a 90% chance that that next game will be 2.5. But what we're saying is 9 out of the last 10 games for that team have gone over 2.5 goals. And obviously, there's a huge correlation between that and the next game. And this is proving that, these spreadsheets. You know, I've had success. I've had guys tell me about their successes on the group. I might start a thread actually so people can share some of their filters, because, you know, we're getting a lot of feedback now about people making money, and that's awesome. So it's not just me that's been having success. You know, we've had success stories on the group. And luckily, I've been able to share these with everyone daily, so everyone knows that, you know, it's all legitimate and above board. I haven't been, you know, messing about with results or anything like that, which obviously, you know, some of these dodgy sort of scammy sites and people can do. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Now, the over 3.5 and 4.5 is very, well, the over 4.5 especially very unprofitable, over 3.5 marginally not in profit. We kind of expect that because we're only really looking for 3 goals or above. So even though there's quite a lot with a rating of 4 and around that, especially on this this left-hand side, on this right-hand side, sorry, that's just not showing a profit. So again, I'm still testing the 3.5, although I imagine it will eventually get scrapped, and we'll stick with the 1.5 and 2.5, which are much easier markets to manage and get bets on with anyway, liquidity-wise, because of the slightly lower odds. So yeah, again, you can see. Now, the final thing I want to show you is a third test I've been doing using that same data. And I've picked the games out which were 0-0 at half-time. Now, so far, I'll make those all pink. So far, we've had 23 games. Okay. Only 3 have been 0-0 at half-time. But second half goal, odds are about 1.2, 1.25. So you'd make a nice profit, but not too much for a profit. What really interests me here is that only 5 of the games have been under 1.5 goals at full time. So 18 out of 23 games have had 2 second half goals. Now, when you consider that when a game's 0-0 at half time, over 1.5 goals is around, you know, with these games, high scoring expected games, around 1.8 to evens. Obviously, 18 out of 23, even at odds of 1.8 average, it's hugely profitable. And actually, I'd say that's the low end of the average. The average is probably around 1.9. So you're really looking at a nice profit there. And even with the 7 out of 23 that have been over 2.5 after half time, you'd be in a nice profit, because often you're getting odds of between 4 and 5 for over 2.5 at half time. So again, that's a trading angle. You know, if you wanted to look at getting involved at half time in these picks, we'll have a look at which ones are 0 at half time. If they're 0-0 at half time, we're really expecting goals to still come. And the correlation actually shows it doesn't really make much difference what the score is at half time. There'll still be goals. So that's very promising indeed. So yeah, just kind of really showing you what's going on, how much goes into this, the thoughts and the processes, but also how logical and common sense it is. And that's probably why we're having such good success. And again, I can't speak highly enough of the filters and what Adam Williams has done with the software. You know, it's made my life so much easier. And, you know, I get people telling me every day how much time they're saving. And, you know, I'm really pleased for you, because that's what we're here for, to help you trade, to help you learn, to work as a community and profit together. And hopefully we can start getting these filters together more and more, and actually will become a real force in the years to come. And we're seeing a lot of people go from amateur trader to semi-pro, and then on to full time. And that excites us. That's what we're here for. So thanks for listening, and I hope you've gained something from that. Cheers.